Okay, so this video is a little bit different. It's not really newsy, it's not really about a specific game, it's more about something that I actually really care about, which is games as a whole. The Completionist made a really awesome video talking about kind of older games being forgotten about, and it was something that really resonated with me. Alex then made a video where he was talking about how older games are dying, and I think it's a topic that's really important. I also think it's important to tie in that topic with the new trend that's going on this year, where more and more big games and new games are dropping physical releases, and it's something that I really don't like, and it's a trend that is obvious. It's obvious that it's going to happen, and eventually one day I think we all kind of realized about like 5 or 6 years ago in the gaming community that this was inevitable. However, it doesn't mean that we have to just kind of sit by and let it happen. I mean, you already see with the announcement of Alan Wake 2 being just a digital game, they were trying to use the excuse of polish, and they're trying to use the excuse of having more time to polish the game, as well as not using like the cost of putting it on a disc. And that's why it was $10 cheaper, and that's why the game is going to be $10 cheaper than like most AAA titles are this year. And I think that's a really stupid argument, that second one, like the whole we're going to save production cost by making it digital, because like, dude, burning discs has been around since right after I was born. That's when like CDs kind of took off, and it's really, really cringe to think that like, I know companies used to put everything on like VHS tapes, and even doing that is super cheap. So, but again, I'm not a financial advisor, so maybe nowadays it's really expensive to put games on disc and to ship the games out and to get all these big companies to agree to release the game on a certain date, like GameStop, for example, even though GameStop's pretty much dead too. But like Best Buy or Target or any of these big companies to really be like, hey, on this day, I want you to have people be able to pre-order this game, and if they show up, they'll get this and this, and they'll get like a nice, cool thing. Like, for me, it's really sad because I'm someone who loves going to midnight releases for games. For games such as like the new Pokemon games, I was at GameStop and there was so many people. I haven't seen that many people since like before the world ended in 2020 be in like one place. Like, they shut down the entire like kind of overnight mall that we were in for the GameStop because there was just so many people there. But it was something that was really cool to see. It was kind of the same with Modern Warfare 2 when that Call of Duty game came out. Even though I like shit talk multiplayer games all the time, there was like a steel case that you got for pre-ordering the game from GameStop, and it's just really cool to get these things. But then you see games like Starfield and Spider-Man 2 saying if you pre-order the collector's edition, there's not going to be a physical disc with the game, or like there's not going to be a physical disc of the game in the collector's edition, which is like, that's kind of the whole point of the collector's edition. Like, yeah, it's really cool to get the statues or the steel cases, but if you don't have the game to put in the steelbook, then the steelbook is essentially just like a worthless cash grab. like you're making, I feel like it would be like just as expensive to put the game in the steel book and ship it to people than just shipping someone an empty steel case. Also, the idea of like older games dying is something that I really, really don't like. It makes it really hard to support Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo and all these other game developers when so many older games that I loved as a kid, or that I've loved seeing my friends play on like their retrospectives, not be available to purchase unless you have like either A, unless you have like an actual Game Boy, you can't really play Game Boy games legally, and B, you then have to find like a good copy of the game, and buying games off of like eBay or like online from like games like this that are just like Game Boy cartridges are so like easily to be either faked, or you just get sent a default product, a product that just doesn't work, or a defective product, not default, defective product. And it's just sad. Like, I kept some GameCube games that I loved as a kid when I was kind of like cleaning up my room when I was like 16, and I found some GameCube games that I really, really love. And for me, every time I get to see those games, it's like those are forever going to be mine. Like, I love those games, and it's not even about like being able to save up and then like change it to get money for it or to really like do anything with them besides just to like have them and collect them. Like, yeah, you can go to a retro store, and most like major cities probably have like a retro store, but then you have to kind of depend on the people who live in the area, because like you could go and you could look for a specific game, but it just might not be there. And it's sad that a lot of games before even 2010, which doesn't really feel that long ago, but let's face it, 13 years is like some people's whole lives. 2010, games before 2010 are really hard to get and really hard to find unless they're like the huge games like Uncharted or like, I don't know what other games came out in 2010, but you know what I mean? Like big first party IPs like that, you're always going to be able to find. But I'm talking about games that are like a little more niche and a little more fun, in my opinion. Like it's just hard. And then that paves the way for things like emulation. Like is there ever going to be a point where emulation is like fully legal? I don't think so, because I mean, you're just taking away money from like the people who created the game, created the IP, stuff like that. But then you have things like Game Pass where they have older games, or like the PlayStation catalog or the Nintendo Switch online thing that you can pay for, and you can play like Nintendo 64 games, Game Boy games, but these are all super limited titles, and it's titles that the companies themselves choose. So really, you're not getting to experience the same game as you would before. And I feel like it's a super like boomer mentality and a super boomer like argument, because like for me, it's like I feel like it's just I don't want to accept the fact that I'm not going to be able to buy physical games for my kids in the future. Does that make sense? Like I want to be able to go to a game store with my son or my daughter or whoever and just buy a game that they like, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to have that opportunity, because for me, those are some of the fondest memories I have as a kid, was going to pick up the Wii at Walmart and waiting in line with my dad to get Super Smash Bros. Brawl and all these other Wii games that I used to play, and it's sad to think that I might not get that chance. I haven't really made a point in this video. I feel like I'm just kind of talking, and that's, you know, whatever. That's most of my videos anyway. But yeah, if you have like older games and like games from the GameCube or Game Boy, or like the original Xbox or PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, then I would just suggest holding on to them and really just cherishing them, because eventually, you know, those games are not going to be accessible for people. And it scares me with big games like Alan Wake 2 having only a digital. What happens in 10, 20 years when they don't want to run the servers for that game anymore and they close it down? Are you just not going to be able to play Alan Wake 2 anymore? Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, obviously nowadays a disc is like 20% of a game, but at least you can like have something physically to look at and enjoy and, you know, kind of reminisce with. That's why we keep like stuffed animals from our childhood, or action figures we had as a kid, or comic books that we read when we were really little. It's a sentimental feeling, and when those things aren't there, it's just an empty icon on a screen. Then again, I'm just kind of talking. I'm just rambling. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if I'll make another video on this, but I just feel like it's a topic that's really important. Please go watch Alex's video. I'm going to put it in the description because I think he made a really good one, and as well as the completionist video. That video is so good. Please go watch it if you care at all about the future of video games. Also, I know I usually never tell you guys to like or subscribe or follow me on Twitter or anything like that, but if you could, I would really appreciate it. Go ahead and do it. It takes 2 seconds, and if you don't want to do it, that's totally cool. I'm chilling with it. I also am starting a second channel that's going to be linked in the description. It's called Wicked Media. It's basically just going to be me talking about other things. I am a film major, so I love film. I love television. I love animation. So pretty much all of that stuff is going to be on that channel. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and check it out. I'm definitely not going to upload as frequently on that channel as this one, because I mean, I upload on this one almost every day. This week I kind of slacked, but it's been super hectic. I worked like 8 days in a row this week. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video later.